to the Australian Championship.
Shot up the post and in. Continue to make history.
This rivalry burns as bright as ever.
That is just spectacular. It's incredible. Very good.
Round 2 of the Australian Championship takes us to one of the country's most iconic football venues. Some call it Marconi Stadium, but the locals know it by another name. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Palace. Kuehl, Ocon, Farina, Schwarzer, Ryan. The list of Socceroos legends who've graced this pitch runs long. 4 NSL titles, 4 New South Wales championships, 2 Waratah Cups and an NSL Cup. This trophy cabinet overflows with silverware. But the Stallions have been drawn alongside fellow heavyweights Heidelberg United and Wollongong Wolves in what has already been dubbed the Group of Death. And after opening their campaign with a narrow away defeat at Olympic Village, Marconi are under early pressure to pick up 3 points at home. Standing in their way is one of Australia's oldest and proudest clubs. Boasting 115 years of history and 20 Tasmanian championships, South Hobart may be underdogs this afternoon, but make no mistake, they are not here to make up the numbers. It's game 1 of a Super Saturday doubleheader live and free on SBS. Marconi Stallions versus South Hobart. Excitement is building for kickoff at the Palace. We're going to check in on the sideline with Lockie Flanagan ahead of a massive Saturday afternoon game.
We're here at Marconi Stadium, building up to kickoff. They call this place the Palace. It's safe to say the Palace is pumping. The atmosphere building for Marconi's return to the Australian Championship. But the question we're asking is, who do you think is going to win? You can vote at home, scan the QR code, or head to australianchampionship.com.au. But I'm going to ask some of the juniors first. Boys, who do we think is going to win? 3, 2, 1. There you have it.
Well, you can head to australianchampionship.com.au and click on the Game Day tab to cast your vote on who you think will win this afternoon. Let's get into the team news. And despite the 1-0 loss to Heidelberg in round 1, Marconi head coach Peter Sikenis has named an entirely unchanged squad this afternoon. Tas Murdakudis was substituted early in the second half with a bone bruise on his foot following a painful collision with Heidelberg's Kieran Bramwell, but he has passed a late fitness test to retain his place in central defence. Peter's son, Damien Sikenis, retains his place up front, while Marconi will be hoping for a brighter display from Uruguayan star Franco Maya on the right flank. Well, they were level at the break at home, and it took a Kazuya Yamamura screamer from the halfway line to undo South Hobart last week in their eventual 3-1 home defeat to Wollongong. Max Clark makes one change to his starting lineup with 19-year-old Eli Wright replacing Harrison Oates on the right flank. Injured winger Alex Walter travelled with the squad to Sydney but has not recovered in time for a spot on the bench, while star signing Casper Hallam is still a week or two away from full fitness as he races to get back from a hamstring problem. Keep an eye out for Nick Morton, who's run 3 consecutive Best of Fairest awards in NPL Tasmania. The latest was shared as part of a 3-way tie with his midfield partner Kobe Kemp, whose outrageous bicycle kick against South Melbourne lit up the Australia Cup in July. There's James Hilton between the sticks, who made a number of important saves early for Marconi against Heidelberg in ultimately a losing effort. Put on all the late pressure against Heidelberg, but just couldn't find a goal. Today's referee is Brodie Merchant. He's a fitness fanatic off the pitch, so there'll be no doubting his ability to keep up with the play today. The assistant referees, Riley Kirkcaldy and Aaron Bloch. The 4th official is Daniel Cook. Anton Milinaric missed 20 games of the NPL season, but he's back at the heart of Marconi's defence. There are the captains Nick Morton and Marko Jesic. Plenty of experience between the two number 10s. Well, after lifting the New South Wales Championship last year, Peter Sikenis steered Marconi to third place in 2025, going down to eventual champions Apia in the semi-final. With over 200 NSL appearances for Sydney Olympic and Newcastle to his name and 2 decades in the dugout, Marconi coach Sikenis has a wealth of experience. In stark contrast, at just 30 years of age, Max Clark is, by some margin, the youngest head coach in the competition. He started playing for South Hobart when he was just 8 years old, but realised very early that coaching was his true calling. After lifting a league and cup double in his first season in charge, Clark will be taking his talents to Victoria next year with Northcote City. The Australian Championship campaign is his swan song at his boyhood club. There is the Marconi bench with Peter Sikenis leading the team. Can his team find the spark in attack this afternoon? It may come from this man, William Accio. A new signing coming in from the Canadian Premier League. He'll have to find a way past Nick O'Connell, who up until Yamamura's screamer last week made a number of important stops. Just about ready for kickoff here at Marconi Stadium. It's South Hobart in the red and blue, kicking from left to right. Marconi in the sky blue and white. My name is Josh Parrish. Thank you for joining us on SBS this afternoon for the first half of our Super Saturday doubleheader. And I'm delighted to be joined on commentary by a former Socceroo and Celtic legend in Scott McDonald. Scotty, welcome.
Yes, good afternoon, Josh. Really looking forward to this one. Massive game for both teams, you have to say, off the back of obviously both having defeats in that first round. Huge game for Marconi as they get on the attack as well early on here.
Yesic might have a crack, and he got underneath that one.
Real positive start for Marconi there, for Yesic as well. Like I said, they'll be disappointed with that result against Heidelberg. They had some great chances late on in that game, didn't they? None more so than obviously the substitute today in Geordie Swibble. But they'll be looking for a little bit more of a positive outcome today with a few more chances, and it'll be interesting to see how Hobart line up if they're going to have a real crack at it, like Max Clark did say in the pre-game as well, that he's not going to just sit back and try and soak up the pressure. They want to have a go in this competition. They're here to go and play, and really nothing to lose.
Well, Max Clark was impressed with his side's ability to keep as much possession as Wollongong did last week. Of course, it's a different matter playing away from home with the interstate travel as opposed to with the familiar comforts of Darcy Street and a parochial home crowd behind them.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't know how many of these, young sort of South Hobart players have actually played interstate as well and done the travel as well. It's something new to a lot of these players as well, how they prep, and obviously some of them are still working as well. So how they put that all together and make sure they're at their optimum for these games.
Marconi pressing high and winning the ball in a promising position. William Accio was in the middle. Sikenis couldn't find him. That's Kobe Kemp in the midfield. Best and fairest award in NPL Tasmania shared between 3 players this year. Kemp and Nick Morton finishing on identical votes, as did Angus Taylor, who's now joined Heidelberg. We'll be seeing him later this afternoon. But Nick Morton, the number 10, the captain, is the danger man. 20 goals in just 21 league appearances. He has dominated that competition down south. Nick O'Connell with an early settler. And eventually he sends it long. Can't connect with Austin Yost on the left flank. Tyron Burney to take the throw. He's had a magnificent year in NPL New South Wales at right back. Jesic making a nuisance of himself. But Kukubo eventually gets the danger away. Scott, you can see South Hobart just trying to manage the pace of this game early and take the sting out of it.
Yeah, I think obviously that's a clever thing to do, is particularly when you're playing away from home as well. You want to frustrate the home side as much as you possibly can, and in the early stages as well, slow it down, make sure you can get into the game. Obviously Marconi starting quite brightly as well. They want a bit more of that ball, you would have to say. South Hobart though, just try and keep it a little bit better.
Jesic getting a lot of promising touches in the early offings here. Mordekudis takes the safe option and goes back to Jimmy Hilton. Van der Sarg to Milinaric. Left-footed punt up the line. Akio tries to beat Gorry for pace, but it's well dealt with by the South Hobart defence. O'Connell taking absolutely no chances.
Really looking forward to seeing Akio live today. He did come across my desk at one point or another as well as a manager at Gold Coast Knights. Obviously you said they're playing in Canada. Looks a very, very bright talent. Scored a lot of goals over there as well, and we'll be hoping to do the same for Marconi in this competition.
Flag goes up against Marco Jesic.
You just feel he's going to be very vital to Marconi today. Anything that creative and looks good for Marconi, he'll play a big part in that today, you would say.
Any chance we can get him on screen and
that beard,
get that magnificent beard some airtime is a welcome one. It's almost approaching Mile Jedinak levels. "36 years young, Marco Jesic. He's had a fantastic career both in the A-League and at NPL level. This is Akio bursting down the line. Akio trying to find a teammate in the middle. And it's hooked away by South Hobart. Danger not entirely cleared. Van der Sark has his pocket picked. This is Yost. Maybe dwelt on it, but the ball spills for Berezanski. Was Morton the wrong side of the last defender? He was.
That was great play from Akio there. Exactly what I was talking about, seeing those highlight reels of him when it come across my desk. If he gets 1v1, he's a huge threat in games, and Marconi will be looking to try and get him as much as possible on that ball and try and get him down that left-hand flank.
No one's more critical of his own performances than William Akio. He's a keen YouTuber and in fact breaks down his own performances, grinds the tape every single week on his YouTube channel after every game. So we got a full review of his own performance from the Heidelberg game in week 1. Actually a fascinating insight into how footballers review their own performances. Every touch on the ball, broke down what he did right, what he did wrong.
For the majority, hopefully, we're all pretty honest about assessment of how we perform. There is a few that probably don't, but I'm sure he gave an honest assessment from that first round.
Well, not many are bold enough to put that sort of self-critique in the public domain.
It's a lovely turn.
It's Meyer working it inside. You can see a couple of his glittering touches early, but eventually lost possession, and then a heavy challenge. And we'll have a free kick for Marconi and a talking to.
It's been a good start from Marconi, you have to say. You know, off the back of a loss, playing their first game at home. There could be nerves with that as well. There's an expectation today that South Hobart come here and, you know, from a New South Wales perspective, that they're just going to lie down and it's going to be an easy result. I don't see any of these games in this championship going to be that case, though. All quality sides within this tournament.
Sam Berezanski getting away with a talking to on that occasion, but it gives Franco Meyer the chance to curl one into Wood's goal with his left peg. On his day, he is an absolute magician. Let's see what the Uruguayan can produce from this dead ball. Back post is the target. Sekenis was arriving, but not in time.
You put the pressure on him there, Josh.
Put the moz on him, I think.
Yeah. It's always frustrating as a manager. You get that first opportunity with a good, area to put a ball in and make the opposition defend one, and you put it into the goalkeeper's hands.
Kudus. Bernie giving the ball away. Could be a platform from which South Hobart can spring. Yost. Free kick South Hobart in a very promising position, and Tyron Bernie was over eager to make up for his error and has given away that free kick.
Well, we did ask the question, didn't we, about South Hobart, how they were going to line up and how they were going to set up, and Max Clark did say they were going to have a go, and as you can see, Yost here with some great pressure wins the ball back, gets down the line, and then you have to say it's a little bit clumsy foul there, and a great position now for South Hobart to go and put some pressure on Marconi.
Right on the edge of the penalty area. It'll be the right back Adam Gorry over this one. 3 in the wall for Marconi, and bodies piling into the 6-yard box. Gorry's delivery to the near stick was onto the head of Mordekudis. They're a second chance here for Kakubo. The centre half sending it into the back post. And just a little overhit. The teammate arriving. Tough ask of a central defender to cross the ball in that spot. And the concession of a corner. South Hobart do stop the break, but perhaps it was an unnecessary giveaway after he'd done the hard part there. Eli Wright.
Yeah, it was a great little bit of transition play from Marconi, though. Lovely ball from Franco Meyer, to cross pass to Sekenis there to get him on the attack. And you feel that Marconi, if they get opportunities to do that, and transition quickly, they will be a huge threat in this game.
Akio to swing it in. Both away from danger. Centre forward back to defend the corner.
Again, not beating that first man. Set pieces. Huge frustration if you're Sekenis there. Got to get it in that right area, get people attacking the ball, give yourself a good opportunity to try and obviously get that first goal in this game.
It did look pretty threatening, particularly from set-piece situations against Heidelberg. Akio drifts one in. Speculator doesn't connect with Jesic. Pressure put on Kakubo. Van der Sarg trying to shake off the attentions of Wright, and does so. And some conjecture in New South Wales over... Stay with play here as O'Connell is called into action. Just a moment of hesitation in defence there. There's been some conjecture over Harry Van der Sarg and what exactly is his best position. He's played on the wing, he's played at fullback, he's now playing in deep midfield for Marconi.
Well, he certainly has a lot of qualities. If you to look back in his A-League sort of tenure, though, he was more played in that wing/fullback area, probably later on in the fullback areas. So it's interesting, first time for me looking at him in Marconi colours, that he's playing in that sort of holding role, but looks quite comfortable in doing so.
Hopefully see some more of his range of passing in that position. Harry Van der Sarg. Myers ball into the box, taken on the chest. And Sekenis couldn't get a shot away, well defended by Kakubo. But Huwainen couldn't clear the danger. Off a shout for a penalty, more from the fans than players. Miscontrol from Bernie. dishing out some instructions as he plays ball boy for a moment. Both was up to contest the header. Falls to Berezanski. Neat passing combination in midfield. Kemp. Spreading the play to Gorry. Can right wriggle free down the right. He gets past Daniel. In the end, it's well shielded behind by the Marconi fullback.
That's well defended there by Daniel. But someone like Wright as well, he's going to be a threat for Hobart in this game. I really liked him when he come on last weekend. He was very, very lively. He gets his opportunity to start today. And it's times like that when he gets into 1v1 situations, he's going to have a go at you every time.
Well, we've got an injury concern here for James Bayliss, who we saw come off second best as he attempted to tackle. Well, let's check in with Marconi head coach Peter Sikenis, who caught up with Lockie Flanagan before the game.
Yeah, I was quite happy with a lot of aspects of that game. Obviously, you don't score goals, you don't win. And we conceded one. I thought it was a fairly good performance first up to see where we're at against a really good side. So we're looking to build on that, especially at home.
Peter Sikenis not overly concerned with the result in round one.
Yeah, look, like you said there was a lot of positive things to take out of the game itself and how they finished the game, particularly Heidelberg holding on a little bit near the end, you have to say, and with the season that Heidelberg's had as well, it was always going to be a tough occasion to go down there to the Burgers and try and get a result. But early on in this competition as well, yes, you want points, but there's a long way to go as well. But particularly now you're playing this first home game, you would imagine Marconi will be desperate to get points on the board on this one.
They could be 6 points behind top spot if they go down here today, especially with Heidelberg and another New South Wales heavy hitter in the same group. Top two is going to be very competitive.
It's a great group, isn't it? Three top teams in obviously South Hobart.
This is Daniel for Akio. The outside, it's a poor delivery from William Akio. Now, South Hobart can break. Boff. Turns the ball to Morton. Throws the step over. Nick Morton to the byline. Gets support in the form of Gorry. It's a lovely spin. He'll tee it up for Kemp. Lofted ball to the back stick. Roth hit the turf, optimistically so, and it's an easy claim for Jimmy Hilton. Gorry's ball into the box. In fact, the cross never got to the penalty area. Now they'll put one into space for William Akio to chase. He's onside here, the Canadian. Akio cuts it back. Van der Sarg will have a go, and it was always drifting wide. Let's go down to the sideline, check the temperature there with Lockie Flanagan.
Well, Josh, you referred to Marconi Stadium by its nickname in the pre-game, the Palace, and it is serving up a palatial atmosphere and occasion here in Sydney's West. The pitch, as you can see, in pristine or near pristine condition. It was watered before the game. I spoke to Marconi head coach Peter Sikenis. He said it is a little bit bumpier than it might look at first glance, so they've watered it just to keep it slick. And those conditions are something that Max Clark is thinking about as well. His team not used to playing in this sort of heat. They usually play in.
There's a chance for Marconi, and they've taken the lead.
Cross comes in.
Damien Sikenis tucks it home. Tyron Burney's delivery from the right, and Marconi are on the board in the Australian Championship.
Well, that was just what the doctor ordered, wasn't it? You know, Zakinis and his Marconi team, they wanted a good start. They've got one. It's a lovely ball down that right-hand side, like you said. And Zakinis just nicely tucks it away. Nice little dummy at the front stick from Jesic as it makes the goal, you have to say. But it's lovely tucked away, just with the side foot into that near corner. Absolutely no chance for O'Connell in goal as well.
It's very clever from the veteran Marko Jesic. He won't get an assist for that, but he might as well claim one.
I'll give him it. I'll give him it for sure. It's really, really intelligent play. He knows he can't score from there. He can't get enough on the ball to get it around the defender. A nice little dummy. Sets it up lovely for Zakinis there to make it 1-0. And you have to say, on the balance of play, Marconi have probably deserved it.
It's just what the doctor ordered for Marconi Stallions. Most of the criticism of them this season in the NPL has been they haven't scored enough goals. They've got an opener at home thanks to their number 9 up top. Oh, he wears the number 17, of course. Damien Zakinis. He tucks it away. Scored 8 in the NPL season. He's got 1 in the Australian Championship now as well.
Yeah, well, that will settle Dad down a little bit as well, won't it? It's always hard when you have family sort of ties within a team itself. So yeah, he'll be best pleased as well on that bench for his son.
This is Akio. Trying to outmuscle Gori here, and he's got the better of him. And Marconi could be in again. Akio to Daniel. Daniel clips it in. The flicked header from Jesic. Didn't quite get enough purchase on it.
Again, Akio proving to be a huge threat within this game. He's been lively, hasn't he, for the first 20 minutes down that left-hand flank. He's probably had the best of it, even though the goals come from the right-hand flank. Probably the first time they've managed to get down there and get a good cross in. Be disappointed there was no one on the end of that flick, you have to say. But again, real positive play from Marconi.
See here, picture in picture. Daniel's delivery. Oh, it's given away in defence. And Jesic has a glorious chance. And the follow-up is blazed over.
Wow, well, that really should be 2-0, Josh. That's a glorious chance for Marconi. Just gone a begging, you have to say. Firstly with Jesic, and then obviously the follow-up as well, skying it over the bar. You have to make the keeper work, hit the target, be hugely disappointed. And Hobart, for the first time, trying to play out, making a huge, huge error.
Self-inflicted from South Hobart. They said they'd come here and play their football. Well, sometimes it can backfire, and it almost did there. A horrendous giveaway at the back. Bet your house on Marko Jesic putting that one away, let alone Zakinis on the rebound, albeit at an acute angle, couldn't get it on target.
Good save from O'Connell, you have to say, as well. On the initial shot from Jesic to keep his team in it.
Jinking inside is right, not on the same wavelength as Patrick Boff. Marconi in command here. Second goal would really settle the nerves. Franco Meyer on the attack. In fact, it was Zakinis, I should say. He wins a throw in deep in opposition territory. Bernie's throw. Zakinis helps it on. And behind harmlessly for a goal kick. Gori. Daniel. Marconi win it back straight away, and they try and go quickly. Harry van der Sarg was trying to pick the eye of a needle with that pass. Kudas came thundering in. Gori will have time to assess his options.
they just can't get a hold of the ball, South Hobart, for long enough. They need a string, 4 or 5 passes, try and settle the game down a little bit, get back into this game. Marconi have taken, real strong hold of this game, you have to say, and it's been difficult. And you have to wonder as well, it was mentioned there about the conditions and what South Hobart usually play in. Is that going to play its part today, particularly if they're going to open up and try and pressurize Marconi higher up the field? That will leave gaps.
Marconi, although their NPL season ended in disappointing fashion with that semi-final defeat to their rivals Apia in the Italian derby, they started the season so impressively, 13 games unbeaten. It's the loss of Anton Milinaric to a serious injury in round 10. It was a major factor behind their slide in the second half of the campaign. Right. Both.
Yeah, Anton Milinaric, a product of the Sydney FC youth, came up to Brisbane Roar, seen a lot of him. He played in the Brisbane Roar youth team for quite a bit, had some opportunities in that Brisbane Roar side as well, and still think he's a top quality player that potentially could go to that next level as well. And this is a great opportunity for him to go and show those talents, and now that he's back fit as well for Marconi.
Still only 22, Milinaric.
Yeah, this is still his pop, and in terms of having that left foot as well, left-sided centre halves are very, very difficult to come by these days.
Had a good season with Oakley and NPL Victoria in 2023. Back home to New South Wales, where he's from. But left-sided centre-backs are like diamonds in club football these days.
They absolutely are. Them and left-backs, there's not many around, I tell you.
You would know all too well from your time coaching in the NPL. Those players are the hardest to recruit.
Absolutely, particularly when you're in the Gold Coast. Yeah, always a challenge, obviously, with Victoria and New South Wales. Competitions there, and sometimes the finances that are on display for them.
Accio will chase this down. Just stays inside the 18-yard box for O'Connell. Gorry. It's on the accelerator, and then the covering defender was Daniel. Very neatly done.
It's well played. Great tackle to start with. Some composure. Keeps the ball for his team. South Hobart have to suffer a little bit more now.
You can see them trying to squeeze the spaces. It's always difficult to tell, but I suspect their home pitch at Darcy Street is a little smaller, a little tighter than the big deck out at Marconi Stadium, which can always make a difference.
Potentially, and then the difficulty as well in terms of the level of competition, when you're such a dominant side in your own league and you come to play in these competitions, then all of a sudden it becomes a little bit more of a 50-50 fight. Sometimes you're not as conditioned as some other teams.
It's another turnover, and Marconi looking to exploit it. Oh, they thought they had the advantage there. Brody Merchant has just called it back for a foul on Marko Jesic.
Interesting, he brought that back there. Still, potential for Marconi to go on there and maybe have an opportunity at goal. I thought it was really poor decision making from Franco Meyer when they win the ball back here. He should look to play it to his left-hand side a lot earlier. When he gets this ball. Yeah, see Van der Sar making that run, and then there's obviously Accio as well there as well. So
you saw the reaction from Accio, throwing his hands around, saying, "Give me the ball."
Look, he was winding one up. He wanted one for himself. He'll get the opportunity now. You would probably think to have a crack.
Does favour the left foot, Franco Meyer. Jesic having won the free kick and wearing the armband, might pull rank here. Chance for Marconi to make it 2. It's going to be Franco Meyer. It's hit beautifully and just nestles on the roof of the net. Franco Meyer so close to emulating what Sean Simmons did last night for Apia.
That's a wonderful effort. It's got a little bit of dip and whip in it as well, hasn't it? He can hit a ball, Franco Meyer, as we know. And he had O'Connell worried for a little bit there, you have to say.
Just for for a fraction of a second. I wonder if the home fans thought that had nestled in the top corner the way the net bulged.
Yeah, well, I certainly did as well. It looked like it was getting on his way into that top corner.
He says his favourite player growing up was Ronaldinho, so he's a man after my own heart in that respect, Franco Maya.
I have to agree with him on that one too.
And he's certainly an entertainer in a similar mould. Lovely touch as he sends it back to Jimmy Hilton. Norwich up the line. It's picked off by South Hobart. It doesn't stick. Akio drifting inside, combining with Jesic. Maya's free on the far side. And it's beautifully worked by Marconi. Can they make it count? Maya shimmying infield, firing it into the 6-yard box. Jesic didn't seem to know too much about it. But Nick O'Connell sends it behind for a corner.
Again, fantastic play in that middle of the park from Akio there, causing all sorts of trouble for South Hobart, coming inside off that left-hand flank. Decent ball into Franco Maya, just got ahead of him, and then Franco Maya doing what he does best, getting on that left foot of his, and Jesic just can't get the right contact to make it more difficult for O'Connell.
I think it took a significant deflection off the defender, which may have made things difficult for Jesic to adjust his body position in time. Maya. It's a short routine, but sends Van der Sark backwards to collect. Go again here, Maya low into the box. South Hobart play their way out of trouble. Waynan. Dakota's flying through the air. A bit of friendly fire it looked like on his teammate. There's a Marconi player down. South Hobart don't have to stop play. Akio getting shouts from his teammates to play the ball out of bounds. He didn't seem in any hurry to do so.
No, he's enjoying his game, isn't he? He looks full of confidence today. It's Milinaric down.
Well, that's the last thing they want to see. Mention him missing time.
Oh, he's copped a knee right in the old...
Yeah, in the unmentionables from the looks of things.
Yeah.
So it should be one he can walk off.
Thanks, Tass. Imagine getting that off your own teammate. You wouldn't be happy at half-time, would you? He seems fine, though. Just needs a breather.
Norwich sucking in the big ones. That doesn't tickle. Lovely afternoon in Sydney's West. You can see fans have come out in force to Marconi Stadium for this early kickoff. And they are enjoying what they're seeing so far.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a very good performance from Marconi so far. They've dominated the play. They've settled down, keeping the ball really well, exposing now South Hobart when they come and press. Massive gaps in that midfield zone that Max Clark has to sort out if he can get to half-time.
It's a magnificent ball from Maya. Bernie, who set up the first goal, can't pick out a teammate this time.
It's just a little bit too easy from that back to middle for Marconi, for my liking, from South Hobart. It's not a full press together, and they're getting picked off. You've got the likes of Franco Maya and Akio on those flanks. They're going to hurt you.
Maya's starting to really enjoy himself, which is a worry for South Hobart. You don't want to let him settle in a game, get confidence. Heidelberg did such a good job of managing him, especially Fletcher Fulton last week, the Mike Cockerell medalist, who's a converted winger, not a natural defender by any means, but he stuck to him like glue and just didn't let him build up that head of steam. Easier said than done, of course.
Absolutely.
Bernie for Akio. No way past Lancaster. You can see the results of our poll. And unsurprisingly, most of you think Marconi will get over the top today, 68%. And you can still vote. Scan the QR code or head to australianchampionship.com.au and hit the game day tab to have your say. Akio combining with Daniel. Daniel's return ball. And William Akio couldn't redirect it.
Once again, though, majority of good things for Marconi is coming down that left-hand side. Akio, great combination play there once again with Daniel. And probably, I think, Jesic, if he gives Akio a bit of a louder shout, he could leave that ball and he's in a much better position. But if you're Akio, I don't think you're going to leave that at any point. You think you can get on the end of that and try and get some good contact, but it was just a stretch too far for him. But again, really, really good play from Marconi.
He's probably thinking his YouTube subscribers are going to roast him for that in the comments. You can see the frustration on William Akio's face as we got a bit of a sound effects bump as well as he smacked the upright in frustration. He's a relentless competitor. Made his name in Australian football very recently. A season-deciding signing in Canberra for Tigers FC. Scored 13 goals, including 2 on grand final day. They defeated Monaro Panthers 3-0. He's been rewarded with a move to New South Wales and Marconi for the Australian Championship. South Hobart on the attack. Both nods it down. Morton on the volley. And it's well blocked by Milinaric. Gorry with another chance to swing one into the box. Austin Yost contesting. Tyrone Burney did enough.
You can't fall asleep on South Hobart. They've still got some real goal threats there, and you have to say that was a wonderful strike. And thankfully for Marconi, Milinaric gets his body in between that, because that looked all for money that it was hitting the target, and it would have caused a bit of problem for Hilton in that goal.
Caught it beautifully, Nick Morton. Both with nowhere to go. He'll settle for a throw. Austin Yost's opener, or equaliser, I should say, against Wollongong last week was their 100th goal in all competitions this year for South Hobart. Wow. So even in maybe a less competitive competition, they score for fun.
Yeah, it's some feat, that.
Work through for Morton again. Mutakutis in the way, the follow-up from Kemp, and it's taken a touch on the way through South Hobart corner.
Really good spell for South Hobart there. Mutakutis just getting the right challenge on the edge of the box there after the first initial challenge as well, to make sure that Morton, see the first one off Morton there, and then I think it was Kemp.
Yes, Kobe Kemp. And there are the main men. Following up with that shot that was blocked at the source. Gorry to send it in. Again, failing to beat the first man on the edge of the 6-yard box there. Sekenis couldn't keep it. Kakubo feeds it out wide. Gorry a long way from home. The right back. And he can't keep it in play. Difficult on your weaker left foot, going to the byline there for a right fullback.
Yeah, he was looking to try and get it back on his right, though, if you could see his body language, but obviously it was well shut off and was forced down the line. So really good defending by Marconi there as well, and just knocked it a little bit too far ahead of himself for it to then go over the byline.
It's the discipline of this Marconi back line, and if all else fails, they've got the New South Wales goalkeeper of the year to call upon between the sticks. Big tackles flying in the middle of the pitch, and it gives Akio a chance to drift infield. He lays it off, and it's a beautiful strike, which is well saved. Bayless denied by O'Connell.
Again, really, really great ball winning there from Van der Sarg in the midfield. Not one tackle, but 2 tackles. It falls out to Akio once again on that left-hand flank, cutting inside. Lovely little layoff, you have to say, to Bayless. Maybe, just maybe, though, if he was looking at his YouTube table, maybe could have played it a little bit softer so he could run onto it a little bit nicer. That would be my sort of argument if I'm looking to get on the end of that for Bayless there. It was coming a little bit too fast, and then obviously the accuracy of hitting the target was straight at O'Connell, made it a little bit easier for him to save it. All in all, though, good save. And now Franco Meyer, another opportunity to put it in a good area for Marconi here.
See Bayless almost consciously taking power off it to keep it on target. Brilliant stop from O'Connell, though. As Meyer curls one in to a crowded 6-yard box. Well defended, Adam Gorry. Franco Meyer will have yet another look from a set piece. Can South Hobart survive? Brody Merchant has some sorting out to do. The tall timber crowding Nick O'Connell's goal. Meyer's delivery is deep this time. Sekenis, and it's just curled out of play. That gives us a chance to go down to the sideline and check in with Lockie Flanagan.
Well, Josh, I mentioned earlier the potential impact of the heat and conditions for South Hobart, and their head coach, Max Clark, if he wasn't feeling the heat earlier, he most certainly is now after that opening goal. He has been pacing his technical area, sometimes outside of it, furiously barking instructions. He wants his team to keep pressing high, while his opposite number, Peter Sekenis, he has barely gotten up off his seat. I can count the amount of times he's jumped up on one hand. Even when his son scored the opening goal, still a calm figure. So 2 very different approaches on the touchline in this one so far.
Thank you, Lockie. Perhaps reflects how the first half has gone. Peter Sekenis, cool as a cucumber.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you'd be best pleased with the performance so far. I think maybe you'd be disappointed they're not, another goal of the good up to this point.
Could be on here. Not with a cross like that from Akio.
Because you always know at 1-0, there's always that slight opportunity that's going to come down that other end. Like we've seen already, there was a little spell there about 5-6 minutes ago for South Hobart where they had a couple of opportunities there. And I think that'll be the message at halftime from Sekenis as well, to make sure that they keep alert, keep everything right, and if the opportunity comes, go and take it and damage South Hobart a little bit more.
Again, it's perilous stuff from their own goal kick. Trying to draw Marconi onto them and create a bit of space further afield. If you're Max Clark at halftime, what's your message to the group?
I think it's a positive one in the sense of, they've weathered the storm a little bit, you have to say. I mean, they've conceded that goal, but you're always still in the game, aren't you? They went one down to, they went one up, didn't they, against Wollongong? Sorry, so a little bit,
they equalised.
They equalised. Sorry, so they've been in this position already in the championship. So and they came out, well in that second half. Probably just need to keep the ball a little bit better. Like I said, from that front to middle, they've not done that so much as they go on the attack here.
This is Boff. Eli writes, it's a good ball into the box, and it's a big chance for Patrick Boff. And beautifully blocked by Bernie. Last-ditch defending by Marconi.
Again, you have to say that's the best piece of play for South Hobart in this first half. Some wonderful, wonderful play. And like you said there, Josh, what a block to still make it 1-0. Because for all money, and they're on the attack again here.
This is Hawainen. Delivery wasn't quite of the required quality. What a glorious chance for South Hobart to snatch an equaliser. It's cleverly laid off there by Nick Morton. Maybe Patrick Boff just takes slightly too long over it. Hard to criticise when Tyrone Burney has come in with a challenge like that.
Yeah, it was good build-up play from Boff initially as well to start the attack as well, and then he continues on, and Morton with that lovely little flick there for Boff. just a little bit wide of him to start with, and had to sort of change direction to get his first touch, and which give Marconi the opportunity to get that block in to still make it 1-0.
That was a shot coming in from about the halfway line, perhaps inspired by Yamamura last week at Darcy Street.
Yeah, I think so. Bit ambitious, you have to say, though, on the bounce there from, I think it was Van der Sar.
See what the bean counters in the statistics department decide to do with that one. Bernie dispossessed by Berezanski. See, they're leaving 2v2 at the back there, Marconi. Maybe an avenue for South Hobart to exploit.
Yeah, well, I think we just seen that, in terms of when Boff, held the ball up on the halfway line. Not had great opportunities to do that. Marconi have snuffed that out on many occasions to this point. Very, very brave, like Max Clark said, in his pre-match build-up, that they're going to have a go. They're going to leave that 2 up, which at the end of the day, it leaves spaces for Marconi to go and expose, which have done once on one occasion. Kind of probably, like I said, you'd be disappointed if you're Zakinis that they haven't exposed that a little bit more and had that end product.
Daniel rides the challenge of Wright. Van der Sar, 2 minutes up on the 4th officials board. Daniel checks back in field. Cross headed away. Back immediately by Marconi. What can Akio do with it? Combining with Bayless. Bayless out to Bernie. It's an attempted cross on the volley, which is a difficult skill for the right back, but he's been up and down and ever present through this first half.
It's a great ball by Bayless on the diagonal there. Probably asking, it's a big ask for Bernie to play that in first time. Perhaps should probably just take that first touch, calm it down, and like he did for the goal, with some quality, get that ball across the face there to give themselves another opportunity.
Minute to play in stoppage time to end the first half at the Palace. Marconi have begun confidently at home. Again, just lingering doubts. They haven't made more of their chances to put themselves 2 goals to the good. Akio. Putting Daniel in behind, the left back going on an adventure, and he checks in field, and back outside, Daniel trying to beat O'Connell at his near stick. Shot took a slight deflection on the way through, so we'll have another Marconi corner.
Again, that left-hand side for Marconi has been so dangerous all this first half. Once again, it's a great run from Daniel there to get there first. He just wanted it on that left foot, didn't he? And in saying so, probably, just got snuffed out in the end, but good play again.
Akio, powerful ball in. It was turned towards their own goal. Almost friendly fire on O'Connell. He snuffs it out, and that brings the first half to a close. Just a solitary goal to Damien Zakinis after a genius dummy from the captain, Marko Jesic. South Hobart had a big chance of their own that fell to the feet of Patrick Both. They couldn't get the equaliser that they were searching for at a similar time to when they equalised against Wollongong last week. We'll take a short break and come back with our halftime show. The halftime score at the Palace: Marconi 1, South Hobart 0.
45 minutes here at the Palace. 1-1 Marconi of the South Hobart. First to goal from your star forward, Stallions. We'd like to give a special thanks to our principal partner, Domain Homes. We've been providing affordable homes for Aussie families for over 40 years. With a rapid expansion in the southwest, now's the perfect time to explore their house and land packages ideal for new familia. Families starting fresh or upgrading their space. Just like our team, they're all about strong foundations and great results. Visit domainhomes.com.au to learn more. Now let's get behind our team of All-Star Marconi Stallions.
Is this the most iconic symbol of football's history in this country? The giant ball at Marconi Stadium shouts nostalgia. It's been restored to former glory and still towers proudly above the ground known as the Palace.
Oh, yeah!
A rich history and dominant recent past has played out on its hallowed turf.
What an opportunity! Timolkovsky it is, and he opens the scoring.
4-time NSL champions, 4-time New South Wales champions, a surface graced by some of our nation's very best.
Good switch in play. There's space on that far side. Ocon. Mark Jones has made the overlap, but Ocon comes inside. Still Ocon trying the shot. It takes a deflection and scores.
Footsteps set to be followed by today's team of Stallions in the Australian Championship.
Half-time at the Palace. Marconi Stallions 1, South Hobart FC 0 at the break. It was a solitary goal from Damien Sekenis that has proved the difference at half-time. Josh Parrish in studio alongside Scott McDonald. Scott, what did you make of the first half action? Marconi laying down a marker.
Yeah, absolutely. Really good performance from Marconi, I have to say. They've dominated proceedings within this game. South Hobart have had their moments within it. Early on, had a few different, half chances, but this is the goal here. Lovely little dummy from Jesic at the front post, and Sekenis doing what all good strikers do, reading the play and getting good contact on that ball, and absolutely no chance for O'Connell, you have to say, with this one. But a goal to the good. Should they be two to the good? You'd have to say yes, and none more so than this opportunity here. Wonderful opportunity. O'Connell obviously getting a good save on the first one, and Zakinis firing over the bar when he should really be hitting the target from there. Franco Maya with this audacious effort as well. Wonderful free kick, great technique on it, and had O'Connell worried there.
What do you make of the style of football that South Hobart have attempted to play away from home against a big team from New South Wales?
Yeah, look, I think from Max Clark's perspective, I understand that he wants to have a go within this competition, but there has to be a level of respect for the opposition that you're playing against as well. You are South Hobart, and look, the level of quality of players you're coming up against, you're playing away from home, the conditions are a lot different. You're playing a far more open game, and I think they're getting exposed from that. They need to lock in a little bit more, be harder to be beaten within that midfield zone area, because that's where they're getting hurt. And in the wide areas as well, Gory's been targeted on that right-hand flank quite a lot, and they need to shut that up.
Well, the stats telling the story. 15 shots to 3 at half-time. Marconi, have they left the door ajar a little bit here by not burying a second goal?
Yeah, absolutely. You have to say that. And if you're Max Clark, that's what you're saying to your team right now. Look, for all the pressure that we've had, we're still in this game, and we just need that one opportunity.
Well, let's go down and get an impression from the sideline with Lockie Flanagan.
Half-time on what is a perfect day at the Palace so far for the Marconi Stallions. There are some kids over there cooling down with a bit of ice cream, but the big question going into second half is how do South Hobart cool down? They're going to be feeling the pinch in the second 45. Max Clark, he didn't make any substitutions last week until the 70th minute. Does he go a little bit earlier, factoring in the conditions? Does he turn to a veteran like 35-year-old Adam Hess a little earlier in this one than he might have last week in the Tasman or across the Tasman in Tasmania? Plenty to think about for both of these coaches going into the second 45.
The heat's certainly on South Hobart as we head into the second half, and that goes to your point, Scott, about trying to press so high up the pitch in these conditions.
Well, yeah, if it is that hot as well, you have to think about that if you're South Hobart. And like we talked about during the game itself, they play, in Tasmania, and they dominate the ball a lot. You said they scored over 100 goals. So they're not quite used to, obviously, not having a lot of that ball. They can go and high press the opponent, go and win it back quite easily, probably in their own competition. Whereas you're playing against, the likes of Marconi, it's a lot more difficult. And they have, like I said, they're going to have to be far more compact.
Well, this is the first half of a big doubleheader on Super Saturday. And we're heading over to Wollongong versus Heidelberg next. They haven't played in 30 years. It was 4-3 the last time they came head-to-head. So let's hope we get a similarly rollicking game out at Collegians in the second half of our doubleheader. But the second half is coming up on the other side. Stay tuned here. Marconi Stadium is the venue. The halftime score, Marconi up, 1-0.
If you don't have a team in the Australian Championship, well, now you do. Because everyone loves Tassie. And they're sending their very best with South Hobart. These guys have been winning the league on the Apple Isle for more than a century. Their first league title was in 1919. This season, South Hobart loves scoring goals. Their next will be number 100 for the campaign.
Reserve champions 2025.
And you won't see a better one than Kobe Kemp's anywhere in the nation.
Kobe Kemp with a spectacular bicycle kick. And the magic of the cup is alive and well in Tasmania.
These guys are burning to knock over a mainland opponent. So if you need a team to follow, why not jump on the South Hobart bandwagon? You're going to be entertained in the Australian Championship.
Damien Sekenis with the goal that has proved the difference at half-time. In round 2 of the Australian Championship, Marconi leads South Hobart by 1-0. He's one of Marconi's own, born in Fairfield, came up through the youth ranks here, scored on his debut as an 18-year-old before heading to the A-League with the Central Coast Mariners. Now he's back tucking them away for his old man, Peter Sekenis, the head coach in the dugout. Franco Meyer has threatened time and time again, coming inside from the right onto his left boot and almost scored one of the goals of the competition from a free kick in the first half. We'll be hoping he can find the back of the net in the second. William Accio on the left has been bright as well. Sekenis with a very calm, cool finish. Tucked it into the bottom corner after a very clever dummy from Marko Jesic, the captain. You can see there, sporting that glorious beard. Marconi all smiles at the break. Different story for South Hobart. Withstood a first half barrage, not without opportunities of their own. Block shots from Nick Morton and Patrick Both in promising positions. They have given away the ball too much in their own half. As we kick off the second here, it's Marconi in the blue and white, kicking from left to right. Josh Parrish and Scott McDonald with you on the call. Scott, what does South Hobart need to do in this second 45 to get back in this game?
Well, I think first and foremostly, keep the ball better. That always helps you try and get up the pitch. But without the ball as well, we talked about it, at half time there. Just be a little bit more compact, resolute without the ball. It was all too easy for me at times for Marconi to obviously stretch the game and get through them. And they dominated proceedings and were quite comfortable for a lot of that first half. So South Hobart need to make it a little bit more difficult for them, when they don't have the ball. But keep that ball, try and get more bodies up the pitch and see if they can get their strikers in the game a bit more like Morton and Booth.
Just say they had more of a foothold in their home game against Wollongong last week in terms of possession and field position and shots. Again, when they get forward into the final third, they do look dangerous. But those sightings of the opposition goal have been few and far between. Gorry onto the second ball. Clipped in with his left. Yost in the middle, chests it down. They're looking for Morton. Can strike them so sweetly. Mortakutis couldn't tidy up. Bayliss can. And it's threaded through by Jesic. And William Accio has his first chance to run at Adam Gorry. Accio goes on the outside. Jesic in the middle. Sekenis 2-0. And again, it's Marko Jesic letting it run through for Damien Sekenis. The same formula bears fruit for Marconi Stallions, and it was all too easy.
It was, wasn't it, Josh? And it's great start for Marconi in this second half. Absolutely the wrong one for South Hobart. They lose the ball again in that midfield zone after winning it back. Jesic gets on it. He gives it to Accio, and Accio does what he's been doing all game. And again, Jesic with a lovely little flick there, you have to say, once again for Sekenis to do the damage. But it's all Accio at the start. He's gave Gorry an absolute torture of a game so far, and he's been wonderful for me here, and in his 1v1 and slides a little ball across, and a lovely little flick from Sekenis, from Jesic, you have to say. And from there, it's pretty easy for Sekenis to hit the target. 2-0, and you have to say it's very, very comfortable at the moment for Marconi from here.
Unerring was the finish from close range from Damien Sekenis. Credit the selfless play of William Accio. Stood up about 5 defenders in that box. They were all anticipating him coming inside onto his right. Instead, shifts it quickly to his left and plays the ball across.
Yeah, it was Berezanski who loses it in the midfield zone, trying to force the play, and that's been the biggest problem for South Hobart within this game. They've just not settled on it, not got their foot on the ball enough in that midfield zone to keep the ball and stop those transition moments.
And the first yellow of the afternoon is displayed. George Daniel, the man on the receiving end of that card.
You can see going back to the goal as well with Akio there. They never engaged him early enough. They allowed him to get into that box, which made it all the more difficult at that point then to get any sort of challenge on him. And he slides a nice little ball across to make it 2-0.
Red shirts assembling at the back stick. It's a zonal system for Marconi here. See what the delivery is like from Gorry. Plenty of air underneath it. It's come off Yesic. In fact, no, off a red shirt. Goal kick.
It looks like the wind's picked up a little bit there, Josh, as well. You see that delivery there, it just held up in the wind a little bit. So going from left to right in Marconi's favour in this second half.
Well, they've got plenty against them in this half. South Hobart, a 2-goal deficit, and the wind blowing in their faces.
Yeah. You just wonder, I know it's early days within this competition, but how important, particularly in this group, is goals going to be?
Could all come down to goal difference, so Marconi can't afford to take the foot off the gas in this second half and just manage the result necessarily.
I don't think this guy on the ball's looking to manage the game, to be fair.
He has been electric.
Yeah.
What an entertainer. A live wire, William Akio.
I just want to know how he ended up in Canberra. No disrespect to Canberra, but obviously a quality player, as we're seeing here.
Let Bernie go. He's beaten 2. Tyron Bernie. Is there an option in the middle? It's caught on the volley and well over the bar. Damien Sekenis ghosting to the back post.
His eyes lit up there for a hat-trick, didn't it? He gets good contact on it, but just can't keep it down in the end.
Not traditional position for a centre forward. Off a cross from that sort of area, sort of trailing the attack. South Hobart turn it over dangerously again. And there's a big shout for a spot kick. When O'Connell slipped as he's released the ball. Mortakudis onto the loose one in the middle of the park. Akio jinking past Gorry. And then his touch deserted him at the crucial moment. Gorry gets across to make the covering challenge.
That's a wonderful turn, though, initially. We'll see here the penalty incident. Is there a shout? I think there is.
Oh, Gorry looks like he's caught the back.
Wow.
Sekenis' leg there. And South Hobart perhaps have got away with one.
Well, they've not just got away with the penalty. Mind you, could say double jeopardy in that moment, but it could have been a last man incident as well. So they could have been down to 10 quite easily there as well, Josh.
It's all down to whether the referee deems it a footballing challenge. In the end, he didn't deem it a foul. Of course, no VAR in this competition. The refs only get to see it once. Akio, ball allowed to bounce. Boff. Only half cleared.
Definitely him and his linesman have missed one there, that's for sure.
Daniel. Caught in a 2v1. Yost. Boff. South Hobart hemmed in. They've only lost 3 out of about their last 35 games, South Hobart. 2 of those were to Wollongong last week and South Melbourne in the Cup. They're not used to losing. Hawaiian. Yost wrestling for it. Yesic incredulous at the decision.
He wants the handball. I think there was one. Yost with his hand, his right hand there. Linesman didn't see it. Referee didn't see it.
Franco Meyer, the guilty party. And Max Clark has seen enough. A double change in the offing. The young man Eli Wright will be replaced. And on comes Harrison Oates. Straight swap. Oates started last week. Patrick Both is going to be taken off as well. So maybe a positional reshuffle. It's the veteran on in Alfred Hess. Corey's delivery. Free header for Marconi, but Yost on the follow-up, and he volleyed it into the ground. Well taken by Jimmy Hilton. And you can see there, Hess playing at the base of midfield. So they've spun the magnets here, South Hobart. And you'd expect as much with the words of their manager still ringing in their ears. They've come out and conceded a pretty sloppy goal just after half-time.
Yeah, you'd be kicking yourself. You'd be hugely disappointed. Like we said, the chat would have been, look, it's only 1-0. We're still in this game. We've got to keep it tight. We'll get our opportunity. At some point within this game, we're going to get a chance. Let's see if we can take it. But then, you know, you start the game as slow as that. And yeah, it's a long way back for them, you have to say, from here now.
Tackle on Morton was ruled clean. Bayless clips it into the channel for Sekenis. Come back off Damien Sekenis. South Hobart will get the throw. A number of years ago, when Damien Sekenis was first breaking into the Marconi first team, he was asked who was the better player between him and his old man. He responded, "I've seen videos of my dad. He was more of a number 6 who just smacked players." I'm not sure how well you remember Peter Sekenis from his NSL glory days.
I'm a little bit older, so I certainly do remember him. I remember him even playing for the young Socceroos way back when the tournament was here in Australia. So that's how old I am.
Is that a fair assessment or a bit of family banter?
A bit of family banter, I have to say. Oh, his dad had a good career.
This is Max Clark on the South Hobart bench. He's been one of the youngest people in the country to get his A licence when he was only 23. Now Marconi in behind again. Sekenis looking for a hat-trick. He goes down. Well, the Marconi fans, you can hear them howling in protest there. I'm going to say an improved display at the back from Tas Mudakudis today as well, after being caught up the pitch for Heidelberg's goal, albeit cracking finish it was. He's come in late, coming back from an injury last week, and has looked pretty calm and composed at the back. Bayless. Poor touch from Bayless there, and it might let South Hobart in. Oates just couldn't pick out the run of Nick Morton. Akio. Jesic.
Just see that ball holding up once again. It must be very, very windy.
Well taken down by Oates. Ball holds up in the breeze once again. Cleared by Milinaric. Kemp couldn't find a way through. Jesic dispossessed, but he was held. It's a family affair for Max Clark at South Hobart. His mum's the president. His stepdad is the long-time senior men's coach, who now coaches the senior women's side. We'll hold that thought. It's Franco Meyer cuts in field and lashes a wild shot well off target. Not only that, Max Clark's brother is the technical director, and Well, Nick Morton, son of Ken Morton, the old coach, makes his number 10 his stepbrother.
It's a family affair then.
Must be a curious dynamic as well when some of your players are older than you are.
Yeah. Look, he's done a magnificent job, you have to say. Particularly this year, it's been a stellar season for them, hasn't it? And obviously off the back of this now, the competition, this is a great experience for not just the players, but for Max Clark also.
He's done his apprenticeship in the A-League youth system with Melbourne City and Western United. Meyer is penalised for late contact on Kobe Kemp. As I mentioned pre-game, Australian Championship will be his swan song for South Hobart as he tries his luck in NPL Victoria, or VPL 1, the second tier with Northcote City. Akio slipped at the crucial moment. See South Hobart just pressing a little bit higher up the pitch as a unit, maybe forcing a few more turnovers in central areas.
Yeah, Marconi just trying the expansive a little too much at the moment. Overconfidence, overcomplicating it. Just keep it simple, keep the ball moving. The gaps will appear, they'll open up, and you can go and hurt them again.
Sikanis. Bernie with time to measure this. Decides to check back. Bayless. Akio's the target. Centering ball. Meyer! And well blocked. Well, it was beautifully worked from Marconi. Not sure if they heard you, Macca, but they did keep it simple on that attack. And it almost paid off. Franco Meyer's ball in. There's an unmarked man at the back stick, and it's Sikanis for the hat-trick. The flag has stayed down, and Damien Sikanis has all 3 goals.
Well, again, another fantastic goal from Marconi. If you're South Hobart, though, you're hugely disappointed with this. Like we said, Josh, keep it a little bit more simple in that final third. Stretch the game a little bit. The initial cross down from Akio, Franco Meyer with that, but they keep the pressure on. And again, it's a lovely, lovely ball. And Sikanis just drifting off to that back stick. Takes a lovely first touch, and it has a little bit of a slip, but composes himself, and you have to say, it's a fantastic finish. No chance for O'Connell off that far post and in.
Is there a window here for O'Connell to come out? Just that slip from Sikanis.
You would have to say so, yeah. As soon as you see him sort of, stutter within his momentum, you have to come out and close the angle, close that space down so he can't get the strike away. And again, for Sikanis, it's been a wonderful day. His eyes have lit up, and for the most of it, as a striker, you love those opportunities, from 6 yards out.
Well, Marconi are preparing a double change, but in the meantime, we kick off again. And the Stallions are 3 goals to the good. What's impressed me about Sikanis' performance today is just his movement off the ball in the box.
Yep. Yeah, lovely drift off to the back stick there again. I think you may have mentioned before, he was in a precarious position for you on one of the crosses, but he likes the drift, find the spaces, while the South Hobart defence are ball watching, as they were with that one, that 3rd goal there. He gets in behind and takes his goal really, really well.
Damien Sikanis will take home the match ball. As a striker yourself, who you prided yourself on being in the right place at the right time, has he impressed you today?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about being in the right place at the right time and scoring those goals in the 6-yard box. I say to all strikers, for your stats, you're not going to score, as we see Akio once again, poor delivery.
Just overcooked, but they might make something of it yet. Wouldn't you know, it's Sikanis trying to nutmeg his opponent. And you can't blame him. He's up and about. South Hobart turn it over. Daniel joining the attack. George Daniel trying to drive it through. Picked up by Akio. They're having fun out there now, Marconi.
South Hobart have to be careful here that this doesn't become a whitewash very, very quickly. They need to keep their discipline, try and keep some shape about them, and see if they can somehow get back into this with a goal.
Van der Sarg gives Mortakutis a lot to do there. South Hobart pressing high and winning it back. Berezanski drives it across the box.
Oh.
And somehow Nick Morton failed to turn it home. South Hobart should have had a goal back there. Careless at the back from Marconi. And they won't get a better chance than that.
They absolutely won't, Josh, and that's like we talked about there, keeping some discipline. Yes, they're still playing the way they want. They're high pressing. Berezanski wins the ball high up, does ever so well, cuts that ball back, and Morton should be doing so much better than that from 6 yards out. No pressure, and more or less you could say, as we'll see on the replay, an open goal. Tries to take it with the outside of his foot here, I think, with his right foot. Yeah, instead of probably taking it with the instep of that left foot and taking good contact. He'll be hugely disappointed, as we can see on the replay there, that he's not at least hit the target there and made it 3-1.
He's the player you'd be praying for it to fall to in the box. He's their leading scorer. And you can see by his reaction, he cannot believe he hasn't turned that home. Changes coming in for Marconi now. It will be Geordie Swibble. Made a big impression off the bench against Heidelberg last week. Thought it might be a straight swap for Sikenis, but they've kept the hat-trick hero out there.
Looks like Akio's actually come off.
Mortakutis, shout for handball. South Hobart on the attack. It's Oates. He's just turned behind for a corner. Tyrone Burney has done the hard yards, tracking back defensively for his side today. Bailing them out of a few of their slip-ups. Another rehearsed routine for the men from Tasmania, and it's a good ball in too, and nodded wide by Kobe Kemp. Well, let's check in on the sideline with Lockie Flanagan. There have been changes aplenty.
Changes aplenty, and plenty of change for Peter Sikenis, not just on the field, but in his demeanour off the field as well. I mentioned he was only up off his seat once in the first half. By my count, he's up to 8 now. He's been asking plenty of questions for those penalty shouts, but that is a distant memory now because he's had plenty more goals from his son to celebrate. Of course, we've seen 2 substitutions come through already for Marconi. Keep your eye out on a third imminently. Jake True from the South Coast has been sent to warm up. And a great moment as well for 17-year-old Rex Maddock coming off the bench for South Hobart. Josh, I'm reliably informed that he required parental permission to come on this away trip.
Yes, that's right. He's a minor, 17 years of age, so needed a note from his parents to make sure he had the clearance to come and share a room with his teammates and so forth. Fantastic to see the young players getting their opportunity on the national stage in the Australian Championship.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is the great thing about this competition as well, you know, giving young players the opportunity.
Swibble could be in. O'Connell raced off his line in time.
Not just the senior, more experienced ones, but those younger ones to give them a platform to go and show, you know, their young talents and show the national stage as well what they're made of, to give them the opportunity maybe to push on further.
Well, what's it like coming on as a substitute in a game where you're already 3 and clear? Is it a case of, well, I can't really break into the starting lineup next week, or is it there could be more goals to come and I'm salivating at the prospect?
I think it's the latter there, Josh. I think you're not thinking about the starting sort of project there. You're thinking about how much I can make an impact within this game. Sometimes it can get more difficult, though, as the goals go in, because everyone else wants one. And it was like I was talking about earlier there, just being a little bit more disciplined in your build-up, making sure that you're playing the simple passes to get you further up the field, and then creating your moments and your chances, just like they did for that third goal.
It's one of the subs, Geordie Swibble, who's won this free kick. Harry van der Sarg has designs on it. He's got a rugby league background, Harry van der Sarg. Playing a different code until he was 12. So a late convert by professional football standards. Van der Sar goes for goal. It was always a couple of feet over. He's capable of the spectacular. Played a more disciplined role today at the base of midfield. Here come more changes for Marconi. Jake True and Brandon Vella will come on. Vella, over 250 games here for Marconi. Been playing for this club since 2015. And it will be congratulations and warm hugs and handshakes on the bench for Damien Sekenis. And well earned too. A hat-trick today to make his old man proud. And the fans will be rejoicing as well at the Palace. He is the king of Marconi Stadium today. Matai Bushek has come on. Number 24 on the left-hand side. Looks like Bayliss might have drifted out to left back now to accommodate those changes. George Daniel, of course, going to the bench after an energetic display from him. Was on a booking as well, so better safe than sorry for Marconi.
Yeah.
Don't want a suspension to sour the afternoon. Headed on by Swibble. Bushek chasing it down. Gorry hooks it into the stands.
So far, it's been a pleasing one for Sekenis and his men. 3 goals to the good here. Goal difference is looking nice and healthy.
They knew they had to get the job done with a professional performance against the bottom-seeded team in the group. No easy games in this competition, of course, but Marconi have made it look comfortable. Tougher tests to come against Wollongong, Heidelberg at home. Swibble lost the ball in flight. Just turned away from the play for a moment and cannoned off the back of his head. Chance on now for Jake True. Shimmying this way and that, getting to the byline, still True, lays it back, could be on for a fourth, and it's in for an own goal. Disastrous for South Hobart as the luckless Masashi Kikubo turns into his own net. But the credit will go to James Bayliss.
Again, it's really, really good play down that left-hand side. That left-hand side for Marconi today has been the bearer of all good fruits for them. You know, Gory's had a very, very difficult day, and once again doesn't really engage, as you can see here. Makes it all too easy as they get into the box, Marconi. Too easy to get inside that box here. You know, look again. Good skill though. Nice little layback to Bayliss, and then from there, it looks like it's going in anyway. Off Kikubo though in the end, to his disappointment, but 4 goals to the good Marconi, and thoroughly deserved, you have to say.
The pressure was eventually going to tell. And the young fans in the stands are loving it. Goal after goal to celebrate at the Palace. It's given away straight from kickoff by South Hobart. These are the situations when it's so tough to keep your discipline late in games and not completely destroy their goal difference.
Yeah, it's a good lesson though, in terms of for the rest of the championship for probably Max Clark and his men as well. You know, obviously I hope they don't get too disheartened by this result as well. You know, the performance in the first game showed us that they can compete at this level, particularly at home, and maybe they have to think about how they go about their business probably away from home, you know, in the other two games that they have within this competition.
Ty Bushek running out of room on the byline. In fact, it was Jake True, I should say.
But once again, two passes, turning the ball over. It makes it a difficult afternoon for you every time if you're going to do that.
Bit of head tennis in the middle of the pitch here. Kudus gets it back on the deck. South Hobart come forward up the wing. Oates. Bodied out by his opposite number, Anton Milinaric. Kubo. Gorry. Chips it into a channel for Morton. Wayne stepping in field. Gorry encouraged to shoot. It's well off target. The less said about that one, the better. It's been a tough old afternoon for Berezanski in the engine room. Chasing shadows for a lot of it. Here we go, Marconi are going to empty their bench. Milinaric will be replaced by Lockie Griffiths. And on comes the 17-year-old Noah Anderson, who made his senior debut off the bench last week against Heidelberg. Franco Meyer will play no further part. Homegrown products given the opportunity to make their bow under the national spotlight. This has gone as well as Marconi could have hoped. 3 points in the bag and able to give their bench players some minutes, their young players some exposure.
Yeah, I think what's good about this competition compared to obviously NPL, usually you can have those extra bodies on the bench and the extra sub comes as well. So it gives the likes of Anderson the opportunity, young boy, 17, gain some more experience.
Flag up against Bushek.
And he'll just be absolutely buzzing to be out there on this platform as well. A great occasion for the young man.
Well, we've got two 17-year-olds on the pitch. Anderson and Rex Maddock of South Hobart, who we mentioned earlier. It's a poor giveaway from Berezanski. There's been a little too much of that when they try and play their way out. Just loose touches from the central midfield players. Shout for handball there. Fans were irate. Plus, if it comes off your body first, referees usually take a kinder view of it. Kudus finding Noah Anderson. It's a well-weighted ball in behind. Well, Jake True was almost around the goalkeeper there. Touch proved too heavy. Marconi bench still pretty animated. Everyone wants in on the act. Can't find the killer ball that time. Brandon Vella. All the way out into touch. Geordie Swibble, people will be familiar with from his A-League days with Sydney FC and Western Sydney Wanderers. He's been recently playing in Canada for Valor FC.
Yeah, he's had a little bit of a break. He had a little bit of a knee clean out of recent, hence why he only came back halfway through.
Shots on for Bushek, and it's a comfortable save for O'Connell.
Yeah, just saying that was the reason he only come halfway through the season back to New South Wales Premier League. But he's looking fighting fit now as well, and he'll be certainly a great acquisition for Marconi in this competition going forward as well.
His time overlapped with William Accio in Canada. They didn't play against each other though. Anderson almost in on goal there. Kakubo in the way. William Accio is out with a 10-month ankle injury when their two Canadian sides played against each other, so never shared a pitch. This is Bayliss to take. Don't think it will go down as his goal, the fourth. He'll certainly be claiming an assist. Maybe he can get another here off the corner. Deep delivery, too far for Mortakudis. Skimmed off a South Hobart head. Speaking about football families today, Bayliss, another one. His brother Lachlan is at the Newcastle Jets. He himself made 13 appearances for the Central Coast Mariners. Morton trying to thread one through. Oh, the goalkeeper out in a hurry to get there ahead of Rex Maddock, and Hilton has judged that to perfection. That's why he's got the golden gloves in New South Wales. The ever reliable James Hilton.
He's not had too much to do today. But with he has had to do, he's done very, very well.
Marconi again away on the break. This is True to drill it in. Noah Anderson was waiting free at the back stick, but the ball never arrived. His first season at the club, Jake True has come across from Wollongong Wolves. Another change for South Hobart. On comes Ollie White, another one of the teenage brigade. And Sam Berezanski will take his leave. I'm sure the GPS numbers are off the charts for Berezanski today. It's been a tough old slog for him out there at the Palace. Drifted into the box. Hawainen, only as far as Bernie. Speaking of Berezanski, if you thought Yamamura's strike last week was an impressive distance, he did score from about 20 metres inside his own half earlier this season in Tasmania. Albeit it did bounce on its way in over the goalkeeper, but still, even to just kick it that far is impressive nonetheless.
Had to have the thought process to do it and execute it, absolutely.
He missed out on goal of the season, just as Yamamura missed out on goal of the week.
Yeah, we'll
have
to discuss that later.
Bayliss. Lofted to the back post, headed behind, harmless in the end. Anderson. Anderson's ball in, straight to the goalkeeper. And a comfortable claim for O'Connell, who himself is the goalkeeper of the year in Tasmania, former Brisbane Roar youth player. Oh, Hess with the slip. The switch of play is directed towards Anderson. He can't keep his footing either. Iwainen. In fact, it's Kakubo trundling forward. Couldn't find a teammate, the Japanese centre half, formerly of Northwest Sydney Spirit. And bravely won. And Marconi could be away through. Swibble! He went for goal himself. And it wasn't too far away. Flashed off the outside of his boot. Bending away from goal.
It's a great little effort from the angle that we see in here. It didn't look like it was on. Yeah, as it goes through the legs there. Didn't look like it was there to curl it.
Struck very sweetly by Geordie Swibble.
Be hungry for goals. Just as much as his compatriot. He's got a hat-trick today, so we're talking about competition for places, always healthy. None more so when you're a centre forward as well. You want to be the guy scoring the goals, so he gets his opportunity here, and he will still be kicking himself probably for that chance late on against Heidelberg as well that he had.
It was a fabulous headed opportunity for Geordie Swibble in that game. Marconi will be wondering how they didn't equalise in the last 15-20 minutes. They had Heidelberg on the ropes after really being second best beforehand. Griffiths' radar was slightly off. Botch clearance from O'Connell. Plenty of backspin on it, and Lancaster will put it out for a throw. No whistle for Marconi. Griffiths. Lancaster under all sorts of pressure. Ball shown to him again though. And he tidies up at the back. Morton. His runner was inside his own half, would have been onside. No way past the Marconi central defensive partnership. And now True has Swibble in the middle. The flag is up. Ball forward, and Ollie White gets on the end of it. Gives his veteran teammate Alfred Hess a little bit too much to do. Here's White again, hesitating into Mordecudis, and the last touch off the teenager behind for a goal kick. Chance goes begging. There's Lockie Griffiths. He's come to Marconi this season with experience at Rockdale Illingdon. Curious story about how he came to sign for Marconi. He works in the catering business of one of the coaching staff, Peter Papoithis, aka Flea, as most people know him. Mentioned that Rockdale had let him go. Hold that thought.
Oh.
Swibble is in the middle, but O'Connell gets a punch. And the ball had crossed the line. Corner Marconi. As I said, his boss was aghast that been let go, and within half an hour there was a contract offer on the table for Lockie Griffiths to come to Marconi. So he rather fell in their lap. Started all through that period where Milinaric was out with injury. Bayliss in swinging left footer. And it was Griffiths on the end of it. No chance of putting that one on target.
Yeah, if there's one thing I was critical of Marconi, which I can't be much of today, is just their set pieces. Been a bit wasteful. Even though they're 4 goals to the good here, and I'm saying that, but it would certainly be something that I'd be looking at, going, can we be better with that next week?
Well, that net has been successfully picked. Thanks to Scott McDonald there. That's the coach, and you're always looking for little areas of marginal improvement, even in a 4-0 win.
Just got to get the balls in the right areas, Josh. As we've seen, when they are, they've got their goals.
Just waiting on the 4th official to see how much time will be added on. Remember, this is the first half of a blockbuster double-header. The second game will take us to Wollongong, where the Wolves face the Australia Cup finalists, Heidelberg United. Five minutes up on the board to end this one. As it's given away by Hilton. Morton in front of the keeper, he would have been offside anyway. Referee waves on advantage. Kudus. Little dummy, and it sets Noah Anderson away, the teenager to the byline. Bernie arriving late. The right fullback, would you believe? Just short of applying a finishing touch.
It's a great little play there. I've been impressed by Anderson since he's come on. Looks lively, nice left foot. Not afraid to go at players as well, getting in behind.
Look at that shot count. Marconi with 28 attempts on goal today. South Hobart firing in their 9th just now with Harrison Oates, but the shot is blocked. It's been a shooting gallery for Nick O'Connell and his defence. Griffiths. Coolly done. Jake True thought he was fouled. Instead, Kobe Kemp comes clear with the possession. South Hobart can't get the combination play going up front. You can see some tired legs out there for the Tasmanians. Bushek back the other way. Beats the first man. There was no way past Ollie White. Tracking back from the 18-year-old. Made his senior debut in NPL Tasmania last year and has gone from strength to strength since then. Gradually seeing more first-team minutes. The homegrown junior. Skyward cross will nestle behind Nick O'Connell's goal. Oates. Let's not forget South Hobart are without a couple of key contributors. Two of their star forward players, Alex Walter, who scored 8 for them during the season, and Casper Hallam returning to Tasmania, his native isle, after another impressive year in NPL Victoria. Formerly of the Victory Youth System, Casper Hallam, but he's done his hamstring before he joined up with South Hobart and has is unlikely to be fit until round 4, I'm told.
That's a huge blow for them. And even Alex Walter, who has had great experience in that Victorian Premier League, scoring goals there as well. He's a huge threat. He can play, you know, on either flank and play up front as well. Very, very sharp.
Here's Anderson. Again beat his man. When he's still going, Noah Anderson barrels into the challenge.
But like we said, this is a really, really good lesson learnt for them, even though they'll be hugely disappointed by it. But they've got to take the lessons out of it. For me, and in terms of when they play away from home again, different game at home. They can have a go. I think the lines have got to be a lot more compact away from home, though. I think that's where they failed a little bit. And they've just been overexposed in those wider areas as well. Particularly down that right-hand flank of theirs. Gorey has had not to the fault of his own, but it's just been a really, really difficult day for him. Down there, he's been exposed and overloaded quite a lot, and Marconi have had a lot of joy down that flank.
And it's no coincidence that that right wing position is where they've been forced to deploy a teenager in both games.
Yeah,
no
exactly.
Walter, no Hallam. They would probably have a more experienced player in that position if they were all fit.
Yeah.
To help out the fullback. Last throw of the dice here for South Hobart. They could be in for a goal, and it's headed wide. I think the flag was up against the 17-year-old Rex Maddock. Marconi seconds away from their first victory in the Australian Championship. And there it is, emphatic in the end at the Palace. Marconi Stallions get the job done and do it in style. A hat-trick for Damien Sekenis and an own goal from Masashi Kikubo tells the story. Dominant from the home side, and they lay down a marker in Group B. The final score at Marconi Stadium is Marconi Stallions 4, South Hobart 0. Marconi celebrate a job well done. Hot conditions out there for both sets of players, but they had the majority of the ball and the vast majority of the shots.
Yeah, look, Marconi got off to a great start here. You know, wonderful ball down that right-hand side from Bernie. Lovely little dummy from Yesic at the front post. And Sekenis getting great contact, like all good strikers do, and absolutely no